Hey, Internet!
Hey, Internet. It's Halloween again. And we're doing this horror movie thing. And tonight's the first movie we watched, Hayride. What'd you think?
Oh, boy, I was excited because hayrides are my Halloween thing, but it was garbage.
I think there were some parts that weren't bad.
It kept me in how do I want to say it? I don't want to say I was interested the whole movie, but I didn't
There were
blank
enough
out.
parts that you wanted to keep watching.
Yeah, I didn't blank out at any point. I wasn't bored at any point. I kept watching, but it never really went anywhere. And when it did, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. I liked the score. The score was good. A lot of the times, I specifically noticed, I'm like, okay, the music's pretty good here. Not that one, violin tension thing they did, because that always seemed ill-timed. Like, they did it for too long, and then when it ended, it was silent for too long before the thing happened. Like, the timing was off on that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of, the actual music, when we first got to Redneck Town,
you're talking, okay.
It was, the country, just generic country music, but it worked. And, the little, the lullaby thing from the music box that then echoed in the score.
That was too much.
I don't know. I liked that part. I thought the music was okay. Unfortunately, the rest of the sound was awful. It sounded like half the dialogue was ADR'd, and you could tell for some of it because it didn't actually match their mouths. There were absolutely scenes where the audio was not synced with the mouth.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It was just ever so slightly off.
Yeah, and then there were some scenes. The one with the football was the one that stuck out to me, where the sound effects didn't match the action either. There's one where Captain Morgan is catching a football, and you would hear the catch sounds a second before it was in his hands, a noticeable gap of time off. I felt like the premise was good, though. I liked the hayride idea, I liked the escaped convict, and then the farmer thing. I do like that they did what I said they should in the beginning, where they should fake you out, kill the killer, and actually have the farmer be the actual pitchfork. They don't reveal that till the end, but it's cool that they did that. And I loved it. It's not really part of the movie, but as a fan of haunted hayrides who's gone on a bunch, I love the idea of having the truck pulling the wagon die and make the people get off and go on foot.
Right.
It's really cool. If any of the hayrides that we ever went on did that, it would be infinitely better. That is an amazing premise.
Yes. But the way he acted it, he wasn't upset. He got out of the truck.
Yeah.
He opened up the lid and said, okay, sorry guys, you're hiking it on foot up to the barn, up the hill, stay together. And he said it just like that. It wasn't like, oh my god, the fucking truck broke down.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys. This isn't part of the show. I just need you to go up there and we're going to get a new truck and we'll resume. He should have played it up more. Everybody said things so monotonously. The whole movie.
That is one of my thoughts was the acting for a lot of people. It's not always that the acting was bad. There's definitely cases here where the acting was bad, but there's a lot of cases where just the writing was bad. Like you said, people just didn't say things the way you would say them in the scenario or with the right inflection. Right. So I don't know if that's the writing or the direction or whatever it is, but the actors did a good enough job. It's just the direction they were given and the lines they were given just weren't great.
I think it's a little bit of both. I've been in that situation where you have to work with the lines that you're given because that's what the director wants. Yeah. But it's not natural for you to say, so you try your best to act it out, but it doesn't come out naturally, so it just looks like bad acting.
Yeah, that's definitely... And speaking of... Because you brought it up, so I'm not the pretentious one. But, we've done the movie thing, and one thing that stuck out to me was how lame so much of the action looked. Every time they were swinging an axe or a sledgehammer or whatever,
always
they were swinging it so slowly and so
purposefully missing the camera.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, in editing here, I'm gonna cut in a scene from the movie we just watched, and then one from The Six, where I'm attacking someone with a crowbar.
Jimmy.
You can tell from the scene, when I'm swinging it, I'm full-on swinging it, I'm trying to hit someone. You have to, it has to look like real action. If you're just Like, that's never going to translate to action on camera.
Caveat, we're not saying that ours is the best in the whole wide world.
No.
We're just saying it's better than what we just watched.
Yes.
But we still rip into our own movies.
And then, onto the big part of this movie. This was the big flaw for me, and I'm sure you already know what I'm going to say, but the last, 2 minutes of this film, I don't know what the hell happened. If the writers fell asleep and forgot to write the last page and so they just tacked something on, or what the deal was. But the tonal shift was obscene. This was worse than the middle of Tusk. The characters...
I wouldn't say worse, but as bad
as... The characters were going through something, and, the story made sense, and there's coherent progression, even if times it was bad acted or whatever. Everything made sense. It went the way it should. And then right at the end... The guy that just found his uncle and cousin's corpse, and the girlfriend who was left alone on a trailer as people were hacked to death, and then witnessed countless deaths and gruesome disembodiments, all of a sudden they're joking and laughing with each other and making callbacks to a stupid conversation.
I'm pregnant.
And then she announces that she's pregnant. And none of it made sense.
No, it was
and to make the tonal shift worse, Corey comes out acting appropriately. He's freaked out, he's hysterical, he faints at one point. Even as they're walking away, he still seems confused, he's looking over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
He's acting exactly like you would in that scenario.
Right.
And the two main characters are idiots.
I will say, the two things I did like, I liked the scene where the lights went off on the killer and he was walking through the strobe light hallway.
Yes.
That looked cool.
That was very well done.
That was very well done. And then the pitchfork into the hand.
Yes,
that looked good too.
You could tell it was a prosthetic arm,
but it looked great.
It did. It looked very good.
So, all the other kill shots were so bad that when that happened, we were like, "Oh,
yeah,
that was cool."
It was fluid action with him stabbing the hand. That one did come out good. And there were scenes like that. There were bits that were fluid and just felt right. Like you said earlier, you weren't bored. You weren't upset that you were watching it. You knew what was going on, and you stuck with the story. It could have been better.
Captain Morgan reminded me of Bill Paxton in Club Dread.
Captain Morgan, I was disappointed because he's the exposition character. He's delivering the backstory for the villain, and, he's the reason everyone's together here. He's basically the story glue of everything. And he was probably the weakest actor of all of them. I think a lot of his line delivery was really flat and just poorly acted. Even when he's, ribbing his nephew's son... he's just, I don't know, he's delivering lines, but it doesn't feel genuine. When I joke around with my nephews, I know what that dynamic is like, and you're very animated, you're very playful, it's a thing, and he didn't deliver anything, I felt with a lot of energy. Everything his character did was just kind of flat.
I think the only good actor in the whole movie was Amanda.
Except for the end where she's pregnant.
At the end.
That was stupid.
Yeah, but... My whole issue, I could nitpick this movie to death, but my whole issue is it takes place on Halloween, and I want Halloween to look like Halloween, but because it's set in Alabama, it looks like any normal summer day to me.
Yeah.
So I had to keep reminding myself, oh no, it's October 31st.
That's true. Yeah, the whole
and everything was still green and lush, and, I'm used to rain, sometimes snow. You can definitely see your breath at night.
There should be leaves everywhere on the ground. The trees should be bare.
Yeah.
It should get dark at 5 at night.
Right. So that was a little off, but I understand because there's so many people live in the South, so to them it's normal.
Yeah.
So that's really just a nitpick for me.
Yeah, but that wasn't a failing on the movie's part. It's just the setting is different for us.
It is what it is. Yeah.
I will say a couple actors I thought did good were the sheriff and the FBI guy.
I didn't like the FBI guy. The sheriff was fine.
I didn't necessarily like them, but I thought they both acted their roles well.
Yeah. Do you think there was too much in the movie? That should have been... The flashback scene should have cut way back down. I think they should have...
Yeah, that could have been trimmed. A lot of the police action actually could have been cut back.
Should they have shown what it was Bradbury Rayburn's face in the flashbacks? So that you weren't out of left field, when they did the reveal, I know who that is, but we don't. Because we never saw the face. So it was, kind of out of left field and didn't make sense. If they would have showed his face...
Yeah, I would
Maybe
agree.
some people could have guessed it, like you did. I figured it was going to come anyways.
Yeah, because when you saw the face, you assume it was him, but you didn't know it was him because you never saw him. So, yeah, I think it would have made more sense if during those flashbacks, if you saw the face, and then when we got it at the end, we didn't need the explanation to understand who it was. We would just know instinctively, oh my god, it's that same face. That's the farmer in Pitchfork Israel, blah, blah, blah.
Spoiler alerts, by the way.
Also, while they were doing that flashback, this is a minor nitpick now, but the campfire crackle was going the entire time underneath the audio.
Yeah, there was.
And it drove me crazy. I don't know why that was a choice they made. Like, we understood that it was a flashback. You don't need to keep the effect going.
Right.
It would be like if, in old, 60s and 70s cartoons, like Scooby-Doo and whatnot, where they would do a flashback or a cutaway, they would do that effect. If they kept that effect going the whole time, that's what this would be like. It was idiotic.
It was annoying.
Like, once you transition, okay, we get it, we're on board, we know it's a flashback, you still have the sepia tones. You don't need everything
just a different
else.
color grading, and we know, and you're good.
So, again, minor nitpick. It was just an editing choice that they made that I think is stupid. But it was noticeably annoying, and it distracted from the immersion.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know. What would you say overall? Like, let's rate it out of 10.
4?
I was gonna say 4, so that works. Like, it's not horrible. I wasn't mad that I watched it. It didn't feel like a waste of time.
Right.
But
would never watch
don't
it again.
need to watch it
Wouldn't
again.
recommend it.
And I wouldn't.
There's a lot I would say.
I do have to put it a little below average.
Yeah.
But you can tell they put some effort into it. Like, there was still work there. It was a decent enough movie.
Yeah. Big cast.
Yeah.
Decent setting. Good premise.
I mean, they had actual cop cars. They
yeah.
filmed in actual rain in at least one scene.
It would have.
They tried.
It would have been infinitely better if I would have given it a 7 if they had better kill shots.
Yeah. If the effects and the action on the deaths were better, that alone would have made the movie well above average.
Also, he started killing at the beginning of the hayride, and then he went to where the cops were and killed all them, and then came back to the hayride and killed people, because that's how they showed it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense either. The cops were already on the hayride property,
I guess.
but then they still had to.
But then they had to drive there at the end.
At the end, yeah.
I don't know. Oh. Yeah, it was a bit disorganized. It could have. They put a good effort in. Like, I definitely see what they were going for, and I didn't hate it, but
I want to rip into it so bad.
There's a lot of stuff they could have.
Being in the movie business ourselves, we want to be nice.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, we know what it's like doing these indie films and how hard it is to coordinate some of this stuff. So if you don't have a real budget, they didn't do terrible with what they had.
Yeah.
Like, it was not a bad effort.
Right.
It's just slightly below average for me.
Right.
So yeah, I think we agree then. It's a 4 overall.
Here's hoping Hayride 2 is better.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow with the next one.